Hello everyone, I'm Mark. Welcome back to our channel. As I told you on previous videos, my wife and I recently purchased some land up in northern Florida, actually north central Florida, by Ocala. And we got 5¼ acres and some buildings on the property, a nice double-wide mobile home. And the property is fairly wooded. If my video turned out, hopefully it did, I'm going to post it before my introduction here. I did a drive around the perimeter of the property. We have like a path around the perimeter of the property, and it makes it really nice. Every morning my wife will get up and we'll take a walk just around the property, maybe a couple laps, and start our day out. And then in the evening we'll do the same thing. We get a little bit of exercise, plus it's really relaxing and we really enjoy it. But hopefully that turned out. If it did, you've already seen that. If it hasn't, I apologize. I'll try to shoot a better one in the future to show you. I had it mounted on our golf cart, and I don't know how shaky it was going through the path. So if it's too bad, I just won't even post that part of the video. But today's video, I wanted to kind of go over a few things, part of our history, how we ended up in Florida, and how we ended up where we're at today. Back in December of 2003, my wife and I decided when our girls got out of high school, we were going to move to Florida, where we didn't have to shovel snow or scrape windows anymore like you have to do in West Central Illinois, where we're from. And we started looking at the properties. We wanted to be in the central part of Florida. I didn't want to be too far south because of the population growth down there, and too far north because it gets cold in Florida. And my brother lives in this area where we bought this property, and when we were looking, he wanted us to find a piece of property by him, and I told him, no, it gets too cold in the wintertime there, because it'll get down to, it's been this last winter when we were here, a few nights it got down to 28 degrees at night. I mean, it gets up to 70 during the day, but it gets cold at night. And for some reason it feels colder here in Florida than up in Illinois, I think because of the high humidity down here. But it definitely cuts right through you. And so anyway, we decided to buy a house down by Orlando, Florida, and we bought in a subdivision. And it's the first time in my life I've ever heard of an HOA, which is a homeowners association. And pretty much every subdivision in Florida, at least in Central Florida, has an HOA attached to it. And that can be good and it can be bad. HOAs are great because they help keep up the property values and make sure everybody's taking care of their properties and everything. And I mean, some of them are very expensive, some of them are pretty reasonable. I mean, where we lived in a subdivision called Sawgrass, really nice house. It's a fairly new subdivision when we moved in 2003. I think the house we bought had been built in 99, I believe it was, 1999. So it was a nice house, nice area, nice neighborhood. And our fees, at one point they got up to almost, I think it was almost $700 a year. But then since then they dropped back down. Now we sold that place in 2015, so I don't know if they've come back up again, but back in 2015 it was down to, I believe, somewhere around $400 a year, which is actually cheap for an HOA. I mean, some of them are that much a month, depending on where you're at. So anyway, in 2015, I knew I was gonna be retiring in a couple of years, and we were wanting to downsize. We didn't need that big of a house anymore. And so I had the smart idea, let's sell it and we'll buy a mobile home in a 55+ park. And we found a really nice park in where not too far from where we live. And we ended up buying a double-wide mobile home there, really nice home. And then we sold our other home. And anyway, we lived there till we bought this property back last fall. But one thing I found out doing that is I didn't like not owning my own property. Every year our rent went up $10 a month, which isn't bad, but a new company bought them out a couple years ago, and they started raising it up faster than that. Or once a year you get hit with it's to subsidize the property tax, which again I kind of argue that because the last few years, every year the property tax went down in that area, yet ours kept going up. What we had to pay every year, supposedly it was supposed to be whatever increase happened in property tax that year is what they were supposed to be charging us, but they were charging us, I think, a lot more than that. So that made me decide I didn't want to stay there because first off, I didn't own the property. I did own the mobile home, but if at any point the park decided they didn't want me there anymore, they give me 30 days notice, and I'd have to move a double wide mobile home somewhere. So, and I was really wanting some more land, and I'll tell you a funny story about that. Part of the reason I started looking is I like YouTube, obviously, and I have some of my favorite channels, and a couple of them are, and maybe some of you guys have heard of them. If not, please check them out. They're awesome channels. The first one is Outdoors with the Morgans. It's Mike and Melissa Morgan. They live in Western Pennsylvania, and they just do neat stuff. They've got over 100 acres, and they're always doing something. And that made me want to have more than just a third of an acre lot to be living on. I wanted something where I could actually start enjoying my retirement. So, and then there's another channel called Tractor Time with Tim, which Tim and Christy, his wife, they're awesome people, just like Mike and Melissa. They put on a great channel, very nice people. I would love to meet them someday. And that's my goal, is hopefully I get established enough where they recognize me and they won't think I'm a stalker or something. So I really hope to meet them someday. And like I said, if you get a chance, check out their channels. Melissa also has her own channel. It's called Morgan's Off the Leash. She does more of the behind the scenes stuff at their house, things that go on that Mike doesn't normally videotape. And so they're both good channels, great people. If you get a chance, check them out. But watching their channels, I just got the yearning to have some property. And unfortunately, I can't afford 100 acres, not down here in Florida. But I was able to buy this. It's a 5 1/4 acre lot, and it's plenty big enough for me. I've got so many other things going on that it keeps me busy enough. And that brings me to today's video in a roundabout way. I'm looking at, I've seen other people with property like this, and they're always talking about they got so many projects going on. I'm thinking, how could you have many projects going on? It's only a few acres, there's not that much to it. Well, we bought this place, and pretty much every day I got something I have to do, and it's actually amazing the chores and stuff you have to do just to keep the property up. Again, if that video showed out earlier, some of those trails, I mean, you can hear the limbs hitting the golf cart and everything. Last fall, we had that all trimmed out. You could drive through there and not touch anything, and just in probably it just started growing in the last month. It's overgrown again, so we got to go through and trim all that out again. But what I wanted to show you on today's video is just some of the projects that I plan on doing or in the future, and making videos of them, and hopefully be entertaining and informative, and I'll learn along the way too. So that's what this video is for today. So let's get started. Okay, I want to keep this video short today if I can, so I'm going to walk through fairly quick. I'm just going to show some things that the previous owner started and didn't finish, and things he did that I'm not real happy with, I want to change. So the first thing here is he built this man cave, and I'm kind of using it as an off-edge storage area right now. But as you can see on this wall, he started out with a drywall. He got like 3 sheets up, and then he stopped. I don't know why. I don't know if that's all he had and he planned on coming back later, or if that's all he planned on doing. I don't know. But basically all the walls and the ceiling are just exposed studs and joists. So my goal is to finish this off with drywall. Over the years, I've done drag racing. I've done a little bit of everything, restoring cars, you name it, I've probably done it. And I've got a lot of memorabilia. I got a ton of license plates, all kinds of posters and plaques and different things. So this is just some of the stuff I was able to kind of stick up temporarily. And I want to have a place to hang them, and right now it's kind of difficult to do. There's my old mini bike. I'm 63 years old. I got that when I was 12 years old. I live with my grandparents in Rockford, Illinois. My grandma and grandpa bought it for me with the understanding I would have to pay them back 50% of the cost. Well, it cost $162 in 1972. And at that time I was making $15 a week working for a janitorial service at 12 years old. So it took me a little bit to pay them back, but I did get them paid back, and I still have the bike. It needs gone through. The motor needs to be redone. And my goal is to, one of my projects, get that going for my grandson. He just turned 9 last October. So that's what I want to do in the office. And to come in here, the steps going up to the mezzanine above the office, and I don't know how well this will show up in the video, but they're really steep and they're short. So what I want to do is rework them. I'm going to maintain the same rise, but I'm going to extend the steps out and use like a 2x12 for the steps, or 2x10, and make them come down. And I'll get down so low, probably somewhere in here, and by the time I get to that point, I'm going to be out flush here with the wall, and then I'm going to have a platform out here that comes out like 4x4, and then 2 or 3 steps going down from it towards the front of the building or the back of the building. I can't decide which I'm going to go yet, but it'll make it a lot more convenient and safe going up and down the steps, because believe me, they're really steep. It might not look like it in the video, but and there's no handrails or anything, so you got to really be careful when you're going up there and down. Down's worse than going up. And then he's got another little cubby hole here, and again, he got part of it studded up, but he didn't finish it off. So I hung these cabinets in here, and right now this is my messy corner. I got all my extra stuff I got in here. He left a lot of stuff, a lot of electrical equipment, you know, like that box there, it's all full of electrical equipment he left there, all those boxes up there, that grinder up there, he left. He left a lot of stuff for me. He was a great guy. He really treated us right. But these cabinets, we hung up just to get them up off the floor and get, at least have room to work. But I want to come back and drywall all the walls here, or I might cover these with plywood, but wood's so expensive right now. But something so I can hang stuff on them and it makes it a little more finished off looking. And then the rest of the building, it's a metal building with steel framework. And originally I was thinking about putting 1/2-inch plywood and going up like the ceiling, the corner ceiling here is 12 foot up to that point. And I was going to go up like 3 sheets of plywood. But the problem is my uprights are on 5-foot centers, you know, plywood's 4x8 sheets. And plus, I don't know if you guys have priced wood lately, but it's ridiculous. I think gold's cheaper right now, actually. Just kidding. Anyway, I decided what I'm going to do is I contact a company, and I can just buy the steel siding lights on the outside of the building. I can get them in 10-foot sheets, and they're 3 foot wide. So I'll lay them horizontal, and I'll run up 3 sheets. So that gives me 9 foot high, and that's plenty high enough for what I'm wanting to do here. And then I want to do the whole inside of the building again, because I've got a lot of stuff I want to hang on the walls, different posters and plaques and flags and stuff like that. So that's pretty much what I want to do inside the building right now. Plus, I need to do something either with my wiring or my air compressor, because I have a plasma table, a CNC plasma table, and I tried cutting out, and I don't know if you've seen in the video here, I'll get some pictures of it. Not too long ago, I cut out these flags, and I kept kicking the breaker because when the plasma was running and the compressor would kick on, it would overload the circuit. There's one there, and then I've got the regular looking flags. And then there's some other stuff I've cut out with it. Let's see the Peterbilt sign in the background, that Ford sign, just some different things I've done with it, playing around with it. But anyway, I need to either run more power into the building or get like a rotary screw compressor, because they draw very little amps and they run continuous, so they're not that surge when they kick on. And plus they're quiet as all get out. I bought this air compressor I have now, and it was brand new when I got it. The guy had it, I don't think he ever used it, but it's a Cobalt brand air compressor. It's 80 gallon, and it is the loudest air compressor I've ever heard in my life. And I've had a lot of air compressors, and it is ridiculously loud. It's so loud that I'll let it air up and I'll turn it off and I'll use it, hoping it doesn't have to recharge before I'm done, because I hate to hear the thing run. So I'd like to replace that with a rotary screw, and then use that tank, tie it into there to the rotary screw, so I have a volume of air built up. Plus, if something happened to the rotary screw, I could just use the Cobalt temporarily until I got the rotary fixed. So that way I'd always have backup air. So anyway, that's pretty much it inside the building. I want to clean up the upper mezzanine too. I don't know if I can show you up there, but it's got junk everywhere up there. That's our throw-all place. And we're gonna go up there and put shelving up and everything and organize everything up there so it's easy to get to and easy to find. Right now I can't find anything in there. So that's pretty much this building. And then I've got this machine shed over here. And it's not a bad old building. I mean, it's not, it doesn't leak, but there's no floor in it. And I don't know how well it's going to show up, but I mean, he's taken and put old shingles down, pieces of plywood, just anything you could throw on the floor just so he could put stuff in here. But there's no solid floor in this building. And I believe it's like 18 or 19 by 28. It's a fairly good sized building. And it's got a lot of potential. So my goal is to do something with the floor, either see about pouring concrete in here, which I'd really like to do, or even for now, just pouring some gravel in here, some like 2A limestone or something where it'll pack down good and tight, because that stuff, once you pack it down, it's about like concrete. And do that, and then that would give me a good base to pour concrete on later. But my goal is to eventually have a concrete floor in here. I just got this mower from my neighbor in St. Cloud, and it hasn't ran for like 5 years. It sat out. It's pretty rough, but he just gave it to me, so I'm going to try to fix it up and maybe get it going, and might even try to do like custom paint job on it or something. But that's going to be one of the projects I'd like to do a video on eventually. I also have that little go-kart in there in the big garage that I want to redo for my grandson. And then there's a generator that the seller also left here for me. It was a 10-horse generator. I believe it's a 5,000 watt. And I got to go through it. I think mainly what it needs is cleaned out and a new filter put in it. But it's brand new. He said he only ran it like once. So that's going to be another project I'd like to do a video on. And then I've got this little, I call it a lean-to. It's a metal framed, metal covered little storage unit he's got out here. And as you can see, the roof's kind of rusted away in a couple places. What I'd like to do, first off, this front edge of this roof, I mean, I'm short and I can even hit my head on this if I walked in here. And it's like a razor blade. So my goal is I want to put a spacer underneath here and raise this up maybe 10 or 12 inches so it slopes towards the back of the building to begin with, so the rain runs off the back, and also so it's tall enough nobody will hit their head on it. To me, it's just a bad design to start with, why they didn't do that. But I've got some old metal, some of this red iron behind machine shed, and I think I have enough of that to raise that up along the front. So that's going to be one of my projects, and I want to do a video on that. I'll probably use a tractor to lift the whole roof up and set that beam in place. So I'll try to get the tractor in the video. It seems like that's really popular, the tractor. Here's another thing that he left behind the building here. It's a bush hog, and the gearbox seems free and everything. He said at work last time he used it, hasn't used it in years, but I want to get it out, get it cleaned up, get it painted, make sure it functions, get it all greased and lubed up, and then play with it a little bit and see if it works good. But like I said, he left a lot of stuff here. It was really fortunate for us. But that's just some of the projects I've got coming up. Hope this doesn't blind you with the sun behind me. But hopefully that'll give some good quality content for some videos, kind of show you what goes on around here. And that's a lot of stuff. I mean, I don't see that I'll get this done, you know, over the next year. It's probably gonna take me a couple years, but it's like eating an elephant, you know, one bite at a time. Eventually you get it all. And my problem is I get distracted too easily. I find something else to work on. But we'll get her done eventually. This is the go-kart I was talking about earlier. We got that at a garage sale a couple months ago, and it was actually electric go-kart, and my goal is to put a a gas engine on it and redo it a little bit. I got some bigger wheels put on the back. I'm going to do some welding reinforcing on the frame and stuff and get it painted. So that's that project. And this is the generator that he left here for me. So that's another project. And I'm sure some other things I'm not thinking of right now, but that'll just give you an idea of some of the stuff coming up down the road and let you know why, what we're doing and what's going to happen here, hopefully. So hope you enjoy our videos. If you do, hit the like and subscribe and share them with your friends. And as always, have a great day. We'll see you in the next video.